and I'm going to give the woman a seed. And when she produces that seed, it's going to crush the head of the serpent. So never sleep on a woman who has a casket and a curse because she also has a seed attached to her name.
If I see one more black female,
I'm not going to do shit at my expense.
we're black women. No, folks are going to do everything they can to distort her truth. Hard-working, highly educated, successful people who happen to be black.
The most disrespected person in America is the black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the black woman. The most neglected person in America is the black woman. To respect our women and to protect our women.
Like black women, we so tough all the time. God is real and God lives
inside of all of us.
Hello everybody, how are you guys doing? How are you guys feeling? What I want to know is, what are black women doing? Okay, a lot of black women who have daughters, who are the person who have guardianship over a child, like a female child. It could be a grandmother, it could be a auntie, it could be a cousin. What are you guys doing with your time? I sincerely want to know, because it seems as though a lot of these young black women who are in charge of these babies are failing them largely, and it's coming off in a lot of areas to where I would say it's urban areas, to where the women who are put in charge of these babies are willing to sell them to the highest bidder based off of their self-esteem, their low self-esteem at that. It's all heartbreaking. It really is. The more I learn about these different cases, the more I just don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to handle it. I don't know the right thing for me to do about it. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to talk about it with you all. We gonna get into the meat and potatoes of this, all of it, okay? We gonna get into it because I feel like it's important to talk about these things. I want to talk about Iyana Sawyer. I'm sorry if I'm saying her name wrong. I don't feel as though I am, but Ayana. I really want to talk about her because I think that a lot of people didn't really cover this when it first occurred. And honestly, I didn't know if I wanted to really speak about this, but I feel like it's only right that I speak about this. I feel like it's the right thing to do. So I'm going to talk about it, okay? So this is what this video is about, okay? So let's get into it. 16-year-old pregnant reportedly with her uncle's baby and unknowing of his murderous intentions. Now, Iyana Sawyer was killed, dumped in a trash bin, and eventually, hauled away to a landfill to never be found, according to prosecutors. Now, Thursday, this happened a while ago, but I'm just going to, go over the article. Thursday, jurors actually decided after about an hour of deliberations that there was plenty, in fact, enough evidence in the 2018 Jacksonville case to convict 38-year-old Jonathan Quilles. I'm messing up this man's last name, but it's Jonathan Quilles. It's Quiles, okay, if you need a correct spelling. So they convicted him of 2 counts of first-degree murder and sexual battery. Now, I'm going to give this disclaimer one more time. This article, or what I'm speaking about, when all of this was occurring, this is why it sounds like I'm speaking presently, because I'm just going back to that time. But hopefully you guys are following along with me and understand what I'm saying, okay? So this is all past tense. But the article reads, Monday, they will return for the sentencing phase to determine if he should receive life in prison or the death penalty. The judge said the state, under a 2023 bill signed into law, now grants a death sentence, with a majority of 8 of 12 jurors recommending execution as opposed to being unanimous. Jonathan actually showed little reaction afterwards, similar to the previous 5 days of his trial. Now, Ayana, who witnesses testified wanted to have the baby, was last seen December 19th that year at Terry Parker High School. Now, the next month, police actually started a massive search of the Otis Road landfill in Baldwin. They also arrested Jonathan on a separate sexual battery charge on another family member before eventually, indicating him in Ayana's presumed death and her fetus. So she was pregnant at the time. A sister told the court she covered up for Ayana, aware of what was going on for months and knew she was pregnant. She said her sister even had like a code name, Jose, for her uncle, but she never confronted him on just on the entire situation out of fear. Earlier in the trial, the prosecution quoted from an exchange between Jonathan and his brother Joseph, who turned him in, as well as statements made on a record wire with another inmate. Times Union News partner First Coast News reported these excerpts. He says, "The girl might be pregnant. I can't lose my family. If she has the baby, I have to get rid of the body." What was her name? They asked. Ayana. She was 16. She was pregnant 5 months. I talked my niece into running away. Had her come to my job. Ace pick apart on North Main Street. Why your job? The dumpster at my job. I control what gets dumped. Did you kill her one day and dump her body the next? Yes, they're going to give me the needle. The person said, did you shoot her? Did you shoot her in her head? He said, no, not head, heart. It was the junkyard on Main Street where prosecutors said that Jonathan killed the pregnant niece and disregarded her body. Prosecutors show surveillance video there of him coming and going in a red minivan. He is also seen driving a front loader on the day Ayana disappeared, as well as the day after, according to First Coast News. The news station reported that Gary Laundress, one of the men who runs the junkyard, testifies that Jonathan drove into an area of the business that employees usually didn't go into. He did this at least twice in his own vehicle, according to video and prosecutors. Once the body was covered in debris in a dumpster and eventually transferred to the Otis Road landfill, investigators found items belonging to Sawyer, such as high school textbooks and undergarments. Jurors also heard from Jonathan's wife at the time, Naomi Mobley. Sorry if I'm saying it wrong. First Coast News summarized her testimonies as follows. She said she was initially defensive when her sisters suggested her husband of 5 years was interacting inappropriately with Ayana and might even be the father of her unborn baby. But Mobley gradually began to believe he was capable of killing the teen. She said when she made that realization, she began praying to God about why she was going to abandon her marriage vows. Everything in me at that moment let go, because from that moment on, I explained in my prayer that I could not stand by him still and look at myself in the mirror because I no longer believed him. She also recalled his behavior before and after the crime. Prior to that, he was fidgety, nervous, restless. After she went missing, then he slept like a baby. And I'm aware of this because I was very pregnant and I was up every hour on the hour to go to the bathroom as he slept like a baby. Much of the defense contention focused on how nothing can be proven because her body was never found. This defense called only 3 witnesses, and Jonathan was not one of them.
Iyana Sawyer's family says she was spotted on surveillance leaving Terry Parker High School on December 19th. You see it there. Now, her family has no idea where she is. The teen was 5 months pregnant at the time. 16-year-old girl from Jacksonville, Florida, had a tragic life story that ended in her untimely death. She was known for her vibrant personality and had dreams of becoming a pediatrician or a lawyer. However, behind her cheerful demeanor, Iyana was carrying a dark secret. Iyana was involved in an illicit relationship with her uncle, Jonathan Quiles. This relationship was not only inappropriate due to their familial ties, but also illegal due to Iyana's age. Iyana's sister testified in court that she had witnessed inappropriate touching, kissing, and sexual encounters between Quiles and Iyana. She kept this secret for at least 2 years to maintain a good relationship with her sister. The relationship took a tragic turn when Iyana became pregnant. It was alleged that Quiles was the father of the child she was carrying. Despite Quiles' insistence on an abortion, Iyana decided to keep the baby. pregnancy. However, Quiles reportedly gave her pills in an attempt to prevent the pregnancy. On December 19, 2018, Iyana disappeared. She was last seen at Terry Parker High School.
Jacksonville Sheriff's Office is asking your help tracking down a missing teen. They say that she was last seen over a week ago and she's pregnant.
Yeah, News4Jax reporter Brittany Miller is live this morning. Brittany, what do we know about the missing teenager?
JSO says 16-year-old Ayana Sawyer was last seen leaving Terry Parker High School around lunchtime on December 19th, and she hasn't returned home. Take a look at your screen right now. This is Ayana. Police say she is 5 months pregnant. JSO says Sawyer is 5 feet 8 and weighs 120 pounds. She was wearing a white hoodie with pink written across the front. She also had on light blue jeans and black and white Adidas shoes. Released today a lengthy search warrant for various email and social media accounts, including Snapchat, which Quillis told police he used to communicate with his niece. According to the warrant, Quillis arranged to meet Sawyer at his job the day that she left school early, which is at a salvage yard called Ace Pick-Apart. It said the two discussed running away together. Instead, police say Quillis shot the teen in the chest, then left her body in a dumpster that was removed the next day from the property. The original 911 call to report Sawyer missing was also released today. In it, an unidentified female relative describes her as a good girl who would never just disappear, but calls to her phone went unanswered.
Going straight to voicemail or just...
It's going straight to voicemail. Her phone never goes to voicemail. She has that phone in her hand, and when she sleeps with that phone in her hand.
Investigators believe that she died on the same day she disappeared. It is alleged that Quiles shot her and placed her body in a dumpster. Despite extensive searches at a landfill where investigators believed Iyana's body may have been brought, no human remains were found. Quiles was indicted for the first-degree murder of his niece, 16-year-old Iyana Sawyer, and her unborn baby, believed to be his child, in addition to having sex with a minor because Sawyer was only a teenager at the time. The trial saw testimonies from several key witnesses, including Iyana's sister and Quiles' brother. In court, Iyana's sister revealed that both she and Quiles' wife were pregnant by Quiles at the same time. After about an hour of deliberations, the jury found Quiles guilty of the murder and sexual battery of Iyana Sawyer and the murder of her unborn child. Despite prosecutors seeking the death penalty, jurors recommended life in prison without the possibility of parole. He was formally sentenced to life in prison after the mother of Iyana Sawyer gave emotional statements in court.
I began to cry. My cries turned into screams of terror as I lay there in disbelief. February 12, 2019 was the day my world forever changed. This was the day I found out that my Yanni and little Hazel were gone forever. Before I could even make it home and tell my children, I received a call that it was already aired by the local news stations. I rushed home and immediately gathered my children because I wanted to be the one to tell them. I had to find a way to let them know that their sister and niece was gone. I would never forget the look on their faces when I told them. It was so hurtful because there wasn't anything I could do to help ease their pain as they all broke down. The next few months were so hard trying to keep my kids moving forward because Ayana was always a major part of their lives. She often turned her laptop into a projector and turned the room into a classroom. She was their biggest supporter and always pushed them to do their very best. After the situation, my kids began to struggle in school. Often I would see the news station at her bus stop speaking to anyone who was home. I would have to pick them up from school early frequently. Other days they couldn't find the strength to even get out of bed. Everything they worked so hard to accomplish began to slip away. Although I was trying to further my own education, I took a break from college only to never return. Work was another struggle for me. Being in the medical field is my responsibility to help others, but there was nothing I could do to help myself. I would often go into empty offices or go sit in my car just to cry. I isolated myself from my friends and my family and went into a deep state of depression. We would often go on random family outings. She loved the water, so we would go to Mayport, various piers, and a riverwalk. Sometimes we would just take random car rides. Ayana was always so happy-go-lucky and would have all of us cracking up laughing. There was an awkward silence the first car ride we took without her. Our smiles were replaced with crooked smiles, and our laughter was replaced with silence. Holidays are so hard. The first Christmas without her was the hardest. There were so many unopened gifts under the tree with her name on them. We tried to keep our family traditions of going to look at Christmas lights on Gerber Road because this was one of our favorite things to do. I will never forget our last Halloween. We went to pick out costumes and it took me by surprise when she told me she didn't need one. She took my badge and my scrubs and dressed up as me for Halloween. Mother Day will always feel different because now I have 3 instead of 4.
We brought you that decision live on Action News Jax at 5, and new tonight, the family of the murder victim, Ayana Sawyer, is responding to the jury's recommendation. I'm Tanika Hughes.
I'm John Bachman. Action News Jax and Ed Gutierrez is live in front of the Duval County Courthouse, and that the family says justice was finally served.
Yes, it was. Ayana Sawyer's family says whether it was the death penalty or life in prison, they're just happy to know that Jonathan Quiles is off the streets and suffering consequences. Now, as I mentioned, the death penalty was on the table, but after about an hour and a half of deliberation, the jurors made a unanimous decision to recommend life in prison without the possibility of parole.
It's very overwhelming, but it's a very joyous feeling. This has been almost 5 years coming, and justice has finally been served.
After more than 2.5 weeks, jurors in the Jonathan Quiles murder trial officially finished their duty. Last week, Quiles was found guilty of all charges, including 2 counts of first-degree murder in the raping and killing of Ayana Sawyer, who was his 16-year-old niece. She was pregnant when she was killed in December 2018. Investigators never found her body after they say Quiles left it in a dumpster. But today, they unanimously recommended Jonathan Quiles be sentenced to life in prison instead of the death penalty.
We, the jury, find Jonathan Quiles should be sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Ayana Sawyer's aunt, Paula Dixon, said they will never have closure, but they have comfort knowing Quiles won't be able to do this to anyone else.
So are we satisfied completely? His death will do nothing for us. It won't bring our loved one back. It'll never cover what we cost. So he can live the rest of his life knowing that he did not get away with what he did to our family.
Nobody won in this case at all.
Quiles' defense lawyers say they respect the jury's decision and realize Ayana Sawyer's family won't ever be the same.
The victim's family has to go through this with no one, and knowing that they've lost their loved one.
Sawyer's family is still grieving and are asking for privacy and prayers, but they are thankful to everyone who helped in this case.
There's no words that we can express to show our gratitude for what everyone has done to bring justice to our family.
The story of Ayana Sawyer is a tragic reminder of the hidden horrors that can exist behind closed doors. Her life was cut short in the most brutal way.
Now, this entire situation is absolutely insane, okay? It's just absolutely crazy. It's like, wow. And then when I think about the aunts and how the aunt was saying in the courtroom how she felt basically like she was praying to God to help her not let go of her vows, it just threw me for a loop, because I was thinking in my mind, like, why are you even thinking about your vows at this point? You just found out that this man did such and such, you know what I'm saying, to a family member. Like, what is going on in your mind? A minor at that. Why are you even like, oh, Lord, bless our vows? F the vows. The vows are like out the window at this point. And the fact that this man, you know, was able to get away with it and they caught him on the phone, like, that's just crazy. I wish that in certain cases, you know, if you are at a location to where the death penalty is not allowed, I feel as though in certain circumstances, they should ship you to a place that allows that. Oh, well, we don't allow it, but based off of this, you know, it's law that the person who commits such a heinous crime, you know, gets sent away, and this place has to do all the death penalties. And this is just a manner, you know what I'm saying? Kind of like how the courts have different sections where we handle this, we handle that, we don't handle this, or we don't handle that. Oh, this is a speeding ticket situation. Oh, this is a, you know, a child welfare situation, so we don't handle that. I want something like that. Like, so if somebody does something this heinous, they have people that are specialized and deal with that, and you are to be shipped wherever they allow certain things, you know, and you should be there. That's what I think. Humbly, that's my opinion. This is what I think, because I think it's insane that this entire situation is going out like this, and it makes me feel like everybody in this situation knew what was going on.
Jonathan's brother Joseph went to the police with some information. Jonathan had apparently confessed to something absolutely sickening. Jonathan said he knew that Ayana's baby was his, and he told Joseph that if she had the baby, it would ruin his life. He told him that he lured her to the junkyard that he worked at, promising her that the two of them would run away together. Once they were in the vehicle at the junkyard, he had tried to strangle her, but he says that he could not stomach it. So instead, he pulled out a gun, and then he shot 16-year-old Ayana in the chest, killing both her and her unborn daughter.
You know, this is just a very sad situation. I am just incredibly hurt for this young lady. I feel so bad that that was her end, that this was her story. You know, I wish that this would not have happened to her. I wish that she had a much better end. I wish that there were more people taking notice of her, more people put in place to protect her. You know, I wish that her sister would have spoken up earlier while she was alive, you know, early on when she was pregnant. You know, go tell a school official, go tell like a family or friend, tell somebody, you know, to save this young girl's life. I would rather the secret be exposed than this be, you know, completely hidden until after her death. Now, you know, everything is out there. I wish that her sister would have spoken up earlier, but I can't, you know, speak or can't truly, you know, go into how hard that might have been for her, you know, to really speak about all the pain that this man had, you know, inflicted upon her and her sister. So I don't want to, you know, have no criticism for her, but I just feel really bad that this young female, she's not even a woman, this young lady, this not even a lady, this child, you know, life was taken. So like in this manner, and that she never got a chance to really, you know, live out her dreams. I hate it. Every time there's a young life, you know, being wasted, a young life being taken, my heart is always broken for people, children, families in situations like this. The system is broken. You know, people need to take more care of the ones that they love. Take notice of your children. There is no such thing as privacy. You know, when I was growing up, my mom, there was no such thing as privacy. We was getting, you checking our room. My mom was looking in the room, who's in the room, looking in text books and stuff, text messages. You know, my mom had this little app thing that she got majority of our messages. So we knew that we couldn't just be out here, you know, we could had privacy to talk to our friends, but, you know, we knew that my mom could see some stuff, you know, so we were very cautious as far as how the communication went and what was being communicated. And I just feel like a lot of children do not have that available to them. A lot of people don't have, you know, someone looking out for them or their best interest in that manner. I hate this entire situation. I hate that this situation is turning out the way in which it is. It is just so messy. It is like just horrible. And my heart cries for everybody involved, you know. My heart cries that this situation even occurred, that this man, you know, was able to get away with this for so long, you know. And I feel humbly that there were people put in place that, you know, seen things and just just threw it away like, oh, it's not a big deal, or didn't pay attention. More concern should have been shown to these children, in my opinion. But now people are just acting as though they don't see certain things. That aunt who was like, oh, my husband, I could not believe my husband. And the thing is, you just can't put too much or anything past somebody. That's why I try to tell my child that she should communicate everything to me. I don't care. If you feel like I'm gonna feel some type of way, tell me anyways, you know. I would much rather you tell me than I find out something horribly happened to you, and I just not know that this occurred. And I'm like, oh Lord, had I have known, or, you know, I had brought somebody around, or that didn't mean my child any well. Like, I wish that I was more informed or in a better situation to where I could protect my loved ones and people around me. I really do. But things have happened, things have occurred, and it's just been heartbreaking, because in this situation, that's their story, you know. I'm not speaking about me personally. I'm saying that in this situation, things have happened and things have occurred. So they just have a bunch of what ifs. What if I would have did this? What if I would have done that? Oh, I should have paid more attention. You know, and it's just heartbreaking. But this is what the justice system deals with every day. Things are currently happening that is just out of this world. You know, there's another case that I want to talk about. And I'm going to do an entire video speaking about this, like a current case, but I felt as though I should address what happened in this case. So then when I speak about that case, you can see a little bit of the parallels, because a similar situation happened. I believe her name is Nazaria. And in that situation, her, you know, uncle did something to her, or a person that was, you know, with her aunt did something to her. And it's an entire long situation, but I want to break down that story in a separate video. But things like this are happening to, you know, African-American families, in African-American families, household. Things are happening where the young black girls are not being protected, you know, at all. There's aunts and cousins and female cousins. They're like holding space and responsible for these children, but nobody's paying extra care, and things are just going over these adults' heads, you know, in my humble opinion. But that's just all I have to say about this situation, you guys. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you guys think that, you know, in this entire situation justice was had? Like, he should have gotten life in prison, or do you feel as though, you know, he should have got the needle? Like, how do you guys feel? What do you think should have occurred? And just let me know, okay? I love you guys. Bye.